years ago, a friend of mine was getting married at the same time that my other friend was starting a company. And for the friend who was getting married, we knew immediately what to do right away. We organized an engagement party, a bridal shower, a bachelorette party weekend. There was the wedding reception. There were a lot of parties, is what I'm trying to get at. A lot to do. And in the middle of all this, it was at a bachelorette party weekend thing where there were about a dozen of us sitting in these matching hot pink tank tops that all said Team Bride. Yeah, they were custom made, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. We were sitting around in these tank tops, and I looked over at my friend who was starting a company, and I realized we hadn't gotten her a gift. We had barely said congratulations to her. And we knew how hard she was working. We knew how dramatic her life was going to change because of her decision to start a company. But we hadn't shown up in any meaningful ways. And the traditions that we have, they add meaning to the most significant moments of our lives. They are things that we pass down from generation to generation to help us connect with our communities and show them that we care about them. It's part of the reason why a cookie table is so much fun at a Pittsburgh wedding on top of everything else. But we didn't have that muscle memory to show our friend that we cared about what she was doing professionally. We didn't know how to show up for her, and we didn't know how to support her. We definitely didn't get another round of matching tank tops, which I regret. But the thing that I really regret the most is that we never created the space for her to ask for support that she might need at that time in her life. Now, around the same time, I applied to grad school, and I got in, which was pretty cool. But I had spent about a year writing essays and taking tests and applying. And when I got the acceptance letter, I went to a family friend, and they said to me, you know, it's too bad you're still single. If you were getting married, we'd really have a way to celebrate. Yeah, that was uncomfortable. And I was pretty bummed. But it was those uncomfortable moments that led me to a few different questions. They caused me to ask, are we showing up for people in our lives at the moments that really matter to them? Are we using the tools that traditions give us to the best of our ability? And what does it look like when we show up for people at their professional milestones the same way that we do so for their personal milestones? Now, I think these questions are particularly important right now because life for American women has changed pretty dramatically. Up until 1988, women still needed a husband's signature in order to take out a small business loan. But that's over, and that's why we're clapping. And for the past 30 years, women have started companies at an astounding rate, more than twice the national average. Last year, women started about 1,800 new businesses every day. Yeah. And that's why we're clapping. But they're doing it without a lot of the support that makes success more likely for a new business owner. Most notably, we're doing it without as much investment. Last year, female founders raised $2.88 billion from venture capitalists. And that's a lot of money, but that's also just 2.2% of the $130 billion that venture capitalists invested last year. If you take what women raised last year from VCs, it's $10 billion less than what was raised by Juul. That one e-cigarette company raised $12.8 billion in corporate investment. So I can hear someone going, ugh, and you're right. So there are a lot of reasons why these numbers look the way that they do. There's the explicit and the implicit biases that investors have. There's the fact that women aren't making as many investments. There's also the issue that women aren't asking for VC funding quite as much. In general, women aren't asking for money as much as men are. Linda Babcock is a researcher at Carnegie Mellon. She found that men are 4 times more likely to ask for a raise than women are. And when women do ask, we're typically asking for about 30% less than our male counterparts. Now, there's a lot that's been said and a lot that's been written about how women can become more assertive or stop apologizing or boss up. But I want to challenge us to think beyond what individuals should do when faced with systems that do not support them. I want us to think about how we can change systems that are so clearly broken and not supporting women. Now, I do not have $10 billion to fix this problem, but I do have a lot of experience showing up for friends at moments in their lives that are uncertain and moments where they need more support. Because it's weddings that make me think of the best ways that we show up for people. Weddings at their best are fun and celebratory, and they give us this amazing opportunity to show people who are getting married that we care about them, and that we support them, and that we can shower them in gifts. And that's the place of abundance that made me start thinking about how we could be better about supporting our friends who are starting new companies. So a few years ago, I launched a website. It's called Shine Registry. It's a platform for women who are starting businesses to ask for the things that they need in the style of a wedding registry. Not every community is going to have the means to help close an investment gap, but that's why we built it so that you could ask for money for new equipment and office supplies, but you could also ask for non-monetary things like pep talks or network connections or volunteered services. And so far, over 200 women have created profiles on the site, and more than 1,500 fulfillments have happened. But my favorite part is that we're starting to get people reach out to us to let us know that they're hosting business showers for their friends, which is honestly the coolest. Yeah. Now, ultimately, it's not just about funding, though funding is really, really important. It's also about creating the conditions for anyone who has an idea to have a fair shot at feeling loved and supported when they're bringing that new idea into the world. The tradition of bridesmaids at weddings started back in ancient Rome. It's when women would dress alike and match the bride to confuse evil spirits and ward off suitors that might try to disrupt the ceremony. Yeah, I don't think they were wearing matching tank tops, but whatever. I'm not as worried about protecting my friends from evil spirits anymore, but there are other things that scare me. I'm worried about the ways that bias is going to make it harder for her to find resources. I'm worried that an unlevel playing field will make her less confident in herself. And I'm terrified of all the ways that big and small that the patriarchy is going to make her life harder. But the traditions that we have allow us to intervene at moments when we're reaching these huge milestones to show people that we care and we support them. And we can reimagine these traditions to really support people when it matters. And we have a choice when we do this. We can show people that we are going to be selective about when we celebrate them, or we can open things up and create more opportunity and more joy in our communities and more parties. So I look forward to getting more invitations to more business showers soon. Thank you.